From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
Good morning, everybody. It's a big morning of early mornings LALATE. Great exciting news as your fourth stimulus check is heading to the finish line. In this recording, I'll go over the fourth stimulus check and go over what happened last night with the President of the United States. Then I'll turn to fifth stimulus and that SSI reform that will pay you the biggest payout you've ever had on benefits. That's if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and rural benefits. I'll be going over student loan debt forgiveness. I'll be going over rent and utilities and more. And then I'll be going over what was debuted last night from the president and what was not. And I'll explain why the president said certain things and why he did not. Finally, I'll turn back to third stimulus and clarify some things that are being confused elsewhere. Not on this channel, but on other channels. I'll make it easy breezy for you. I'm going to have a great time this morning as well. The toast is toasted, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing. I'm excited you're here, and let's get to it. Let's get to all the breaking details as we go into a new morning, starting right now with Early Mornings LALATE. It's a big morning, and I'm so excited you're joining me on Early Mornings LALATE. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering, and I'm going to have the latest update about your fourth stimulus check, your fifth stimulus check, and your third stimulus check. Thank you for joining me. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. 395,000 subscribers. Wow. And we're doing really well. We're adding a lot per day. So let's get to 400,000. We're almost there. Tell your friends to come over. This is the most accurate, the most up-to-date, the most upbeat, and the most informative channel there is. Also, like this video. 3,000 likes. If you're not becoming a member, consider becoming a member. First, let's go over what happened last night. And then I'm going to go over fourth stimulus and then fifth stimulus. And then I'll cut back to third stimulus. Okay, let me go over first what happened last night. Last night was the equivalent of the State of the Union address, but because the president is only in his first few weeks in office, it's called the congressional chat. It doesn't carry the term of State of the Union, even though, it is the State of the Union. The purpose of the chat last night was to address Congress and the American people about what you're going to do as president over the next few months, this remainder of the year. And because the president actually has two more stimulus packages this year, that's why he spoke about two. The one this summer is the fourth, and the one this fall is the fifth. Let me go over procedurally each of them so you know what they are, and then we're going to go over the details. The fourth stimulus package starts in May, ends in July. The fifth stimulus package starts in September and ends around October, early November. The fourth stimulus package is the American Jobs Plan. It's also called the Infrastructure Bill or the Recovery Act. The fifth stimulus package this fall is called the American Family Plan, but it's also called the Teachers Bill. That's what I had called it when he was running for president, when he was elected. He called it the Teachers Bill. The price tag is going higher on both of the bills. The one now in the summer was supposed to be $2 trillion. It's heading towards almost $4 trillion. The one in the fall was supposed to be $1 trillion. It's heading to $2 trillion, and they're not done yet. Here's what you also need to know. There are no bills. I don't mean dollar bills. There are no written bills. There are no bills. So what he's doing is just telling you what he hopes to do. This is very important because people are going to say, but he said that it's the bill. No, they haven't even agreed that these items are going to be in the bill. So how do they do the bill? Both the summer now and the fall, September, are done the same way. They're both done by reconciliation. It's a two-step process. Step one is the tow truck. They agree to do a recon. So they actually write a bill that just says, we're doing a recon. House vote, approve it. Senate vote, approve it. Off to the president, sign it. Then the tow truck is over the finish line. It goes back to pick up the tow hitch. And in the tow hitch, you add in substantively the monies and the items you want to put in that bill. The summer's bill, it's infrastructure, roads, climate, things like that. When they get that bill, they're also going to add in the stimulus checks. To the vote, approve, Senate signs, done. In the fall, he's going to ask for money for schools, money for families, money for this, and then they're going to add on the SSI reform. Vote, approve, done. Law. So what's important for you to understand is the add-ons of the multiple stimulus checks in the summer and the add-ons in the fall of the SSI reform don't come from the president. They're add-ons from Congress. It's also important to understand the president is not a legislator. He's not in the legislative branch of the government. He's the executive branch. He doesn't write bills. He just tells people what I like to have in there, and they'll put what he wants in there, but they're going to add to it. Coming up in this recording, you're going to see why they may modify even what he wants to do and go higher. So more about that in a second. But let's go to those monthly stimulus checks. Those monthly stimulus checks, those 4 stimulus checks are an add-on. And it starts in the 4th stimulus package, which starts in May, ends in July. Those multiple stimulus checks are being pushed by both House and Senate Democrats, just like the SSI reform in the fall. Very easy to understand. So let's go over the amounts and let's go over how they would impact you. And let's first start with eligibility. Who gets it? Very easy. Same people who got the 3rd stimulus check. So if you make less than $75,000, it's you. Household 4 or less, it's you. If you're on SSI or SSDI, it's you. Very, very easy to understand. So how many checks? When do they start? What do they look like? How do I get it? Let me go over all those details right now. House members, a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. Senators, stimulus checks between now and December. So the House members are giving you a lot more checks. They're giving you potentially 18 checks. If the pandemic lasts 6 more months plus 1 year, 18 checks. Senators are giving you less checks. Who are the House members? They're progressives. The senators are more moderates. But the House member checks are smaller than the senators' checks. Remember, the House members will give you more checks, but they're smaller amounts. $2,000 to start, $1,000 thereafter. Senators' amount unknown, but word on street is it looks like this. It looks like this. Senators are reportedly going to give you $2,000 a month, which is $12,000 over 6 months, or $1,400 a month, which is $8,400 over 6 months. Now, you may be looking at that number and wondering a couple things. 1, it looks big. 2, it looks bigger than anything I've seen before. 3, is it really going to happen? 4, is it taxable? When am I going to get this? And those questions and more. Let me answer them right now. First, is it going to happen? Yes. Bipartisanship, not happening. Economic rebound in the economy fully by July, not happening. So both of our concerns, which I've covered over the last 3 weeks, are not happening. And we saw more corporate earnings report last night. Those signaled that we're rebounding really well, but not close to full recovery by July in the slightest bit. 8 million jobs unaccounted for, still not restored since pre-pandemic levels, and 16 million Americans still unemployed. So we're not fully recovered. That means the recon will work. Who gets a stimulus check? What you saw in the video, in the screen grab before. How we get the checks, what month, how do we get it, when's the vote? Let me go over all those details right now. The checks would start in the month of July. It would be a check every month to the end of the year. Those checks are not taxable, so it would not be a taxable event. It would not disqualify you from benefits. A new check would come every month. There would be no waves of check. They don't have time to do waves of checks like the 3rd stimulus package. And the vote would be no later than July 4th, says Louis Schumer and Speaker Pelosi. Very easy to understand. 2-month process, recon. It takes 2 months because that's what a recon process is. It just takes 2 months to do a recon. There's no way to do it faster or simpler. And there you go. Very, very easy to understand. Now, some people may say, it looks like a lot of money. Well, I don't think people are saying that anymore. Why? Because coming up in this recording, you're going to see that the President of the United States, under the 5th stimulus package, is going to give $24,000 to young children. You're also going to hear later in this recording that Representative Neal and now no less than 6 other senators are proposing to give $76,000 to young children. So when you're looking at your stimulus check of $8,000 or $12,000, it pales by comparison. All right, so that is your 4th stimulus check. Why does the president not mention the 4th stimulus check last night? Because it's an add-on. Those House members put it in. The senators put it in. When would we physically see the amount of the final check? If the senators added in, they would add it in during the vote-a-rama, which is the final 2 days when the bill is in the Senate. Literally the final 2 days before the final vote. That's when you would see the amendment from the Senate side. If the House members put it in, you could see it potentially in June, because it takes 2 months to get this done. All right, that's 4th stimulus. So now we turn to 5th stimulus. 5th stimulus is in September, And September they seem like a long way away for some people. But what you need to remember is that Congress goes on vacation in July and doesn't return to September. In September, they will start up fifth stimulus. And what is fifth stimulus? American Family Plan, aka the teacher's plan. Last night, the President of the United States debuted to the American people what's in the fifth stimulus package, but on Mornings LA yesterday, I had the details before they were even announced. In this recording, I'm going to go over with you after the commercial break. Boy, you got to stay in for that one. I'll be going over what it is and how much it's going to cost you and whose taxes are going to be changed, at least as proposed. But first, let me turn to the SSI reform. This, just like the stimulus checks, is an add-on. It's an add-on coming from those congressional leaders. The president's not going to talk about it because it's not coming from him. They're adding it in. Viewers have asked me, why aren't they doing it on the third stimulus or the fourth stimulus? They could have. Let's just be happy they're getting it done. So the SSDI, Social Security and Railroad Benefits Reform, how does it work? Let's go over broadly, and then I'll go over the specifics. Benefit levels will be increased, asset limits will be increased, inflationary benchmark will be added, and then they're going to remove the income exclusion and remove the marriage penalty. All right, let me go over the specifics now. Very easy to make it to understand. I try to keep everything very easy on this channel. First, they're going to take your benefits and raise them up to a new number. People have asked me, what is that number? Too complicated to go in this recording, and everyone has a slightly different number now, so it's too hard to know what your number is, but they're going to raise up your number. Viewers have also said, I have on multiple benefits. Will all my benefits raise up? Yes, and that would be your new number going forward. Second, viewers have been very smart and educated and understand what COLA is and how their benefits change every year in December. They understand that. So let me tell you what the proposal is. Get rid of COLA and tie it to inflation. Inflation is projected at 1 to 4% over the next few years, likely 2 to 4%. And that's great news because that means your benefits will increase every year 2 to 4% going forward. Then the asset cap. Some of you have an asset cap that dates back to 1984 law. They're getting rid of that because it says you can only keep $3,000 on hand. Then they're getting rid of the income cap. The income cap says you cannot work and stay on benefits. They're getting rid of that. That dates back to 1962. And that would allow you to work, if you want to work, make $1,000, $2,000 a month, $12,000, $24,000 a year, and still stay on benefits. And finally, if you know what the marriage exclusion penalty is, and you're suffering the marriage penalty, you're going to be excited because they're removing it. They're removing the marriage penalty. If you don't have it, you don't know what it is, then you're probably not suffering from it. When? So the president's fifth stimulus package will go by recon, and that recon will start in September. Again, it's going to take 2 months. I think that you'll probably see this law around November, meaning your first benefit check in November would be the one that would be at the higher level, if not October. That when this would become law. But likely November is when you would see the impact on your bottom line. Meantime, what is it an add-on to? What else is in the fifth stimulus package? I'm going to go over that after the commercial break. But viewers have been asking me a lot of other questions. I'm going to answer them in this recording starting right now. Student loan debt forgiveness. Any update? No. Miguel Cardona is just, hasn't done his homework. The education secretary was supposed to write that memo. What is it now? 3 weeks late? I don't know who is making us more upset, Miguel Cardona or Warren and Schumer. Warren and Schumer, this is their puppy. This is their baby. They're the ones that have been pushing for that. They've dropped the ball on this one. They should be hammering this. They have 3 YouTube videos on it. They've had 5 meetings with the president. Why have they suddenly gone silent on the subject matter? Not particularly clear. Not bad news, just confusing news. Why Schumer and Warren, who have been pushing for it, have dropped the message. All right, let's go to third stimulus. Another round of third stimulus checks went out yesterday. If you've not gotten your stimulus check, you're going to have to go to a tax preparer and request it. But here's what you need to know. A series of YouTube channels have been literally passing out wrong information about third stimulus. And I don't know if they're doing it on purpose because they're just trying to get views or simply don't know what they're talking about. But let me tell you what they're telling viewers, and it's just so wrong. And I know that some of you, some viewers have jumped into the chats and at least the comments here and have repeated those same questions because you're hearing it from somewhere else that's just totally wrong. First, viewers have been asking me, when am I getting my $10,200 check in May from IRS? boy, this is a 100% categorically incorrect line of reporting by some YouTube channels. First, there is no check of $10,200 that's coming automatically to anyone in the United States in the month of May. Let me tell you what really is happening. The rule is that the first $10,200 of your unemployment is tax-free. So if you have already filed a 2020 tax return and paid taxes on that first $10,000, they're returning the taxes you paid on that $10,200 in the month of May. So first, you would have had to file a tax return. If you haven't filed a tax return, you're not getting Zippo. Second, they're not returning you $10,200. That's just so incorrect. And third, they're not returning your entire tax bill. If you paid $3,000 in taxes in February, they're not returning you $3,000. They're returning the part of the taxes you paid on the $10,200, which could be $100 or $80 or $200. I don't know what it is. But boy, no one is getting a $10,200 check. It's so wrong. And I'm so sorry that people are just shoveling such incorrect information. Second, there's a series of channels that have been running these thumbnails and these titles and saying you're getting these tax refund checks of $12,000. No, you don't get something unless you file a tax return and you qualify for it and it triggers something. There's a difference between a tax credit and a tax refund. There is nothing under the third stimulus package that triggers an automatic check for you, with the exception of the stimulus check and the child check of $3,600 if they know the child exists. So $1,700 of college student, you don't get an automatic check for that. They're saying that as well. You have to literally do something. And that doing something is reach out to your college advisor and ask them, how do I apply for that $1,700? Number two, if you don't file tax returns, you're not getting the $3,600 for that child. They don't know where the child exists. You have to do something. You have to actually file something. Third, if you trigger any of those things that you do qualify for credits, like child care credit or the earned income tax credit, you have to file the return to get the money. And it's a credit. It's not meaning that you're getting exactly that amount of money either. Boy. And with that, coming up after the commercial break, I will be going over the Presidents of the United States, this stimulus package. I'll be going over line after line with you. I'll be explaining to you what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, what needs more of a clarification, what I think is going to pass, what I don't think is going to pass, and I'll also be going over the corporate taxes and the other type of taxes he's going to change to try to get it passed. I'll have all those details and more. The coverage of what you may have missed from yesterday from the president's announcement, and I'll simplify it and make it very simple for you. But first, here's a little bit about the community page, rent and utilities and food and more. Let's make that clear as well. Rent, utilities, food, internet are available in May. President has yet to get that out from third stimulus, but when it does go out, you need to apply for that as well. Here's a little bit about that from the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica. on LALATE. And the excitement continues on LALATE right now. Thank you for joining me on Early Mornings LALATE with a lot of exciting details across the board. As we go into a big morning, there's a lot of excitement, and I'm so glad you're joining me along the way. Let's look at what's coming up later today on this channel. Mornings LALATE heats up at 12 noon, and then we go into noontime, followed by afternoons LALATE, a new show every 2 hours. It's easy breezy, and along the way, we're gonna have a lot of fun, a lot of information, keep it simple, and keep it on point. And it's a great day. I'm so excited you joined me. Let's get to all the breaking news and certainly what's happening on Fifth Stimulus. But first, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I don't want you to miss a single video across the day. Thank you for bringing us to 395,000 subscribers. Wow, just a few thousand away from 400. Like this video, it really helps the algorithm ranking. There's a lot of people jumping into the space with a lot of incorrect information, and you want to make sure that this channel that focuses on getting you to the finish line ranks first. Also, consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. All right, let's get to the breaking details about what the President of the United States put into the fifth stimulus package. Now, again, this is not a bill, it's a proposal. It's basically talking points. The bill has not been written. It's a series of proposals. But unlike the fourth stimulus package that remained and still remains a little bit vague, how much for a road, how much for a bridge, the fifth stimulus package is a lot more detailed. And if you're a member of this channel, you had these details revealed to you yesterday before even the presidential address. $225 billion is going to go to high-quality child care to ensure that families only a portion of their income is going to child care services. $225 billion to create a national comprehensive paid family and medical leave program. More about that in a second. $200 billion for universal preschool for all 3 to 4-year-olds. And $109 billion for 2 years of free community college for all students. Let me stop there. So far, I'm about 30% through. Let me explain my reaction to some of those provisions. First, I don't like the 2 years of free community college for all students because it basically means that if you're a billionaire and you have a child and want to put them to community college, then someone who is low income is paying for that. Someone that is middle class is paying for that rich kid to go to community college. Why is this all students? It should only be children from families of limited financial needs. It doesn't make sense that all students, even rich students kids of billionaires. Second, I don't like the 3 and 4-year-olds for all 3 and 4-year-olds. Same reason. A billionaire could send their 3 and 4-year-olds to free preschool paid for by non-billionaires. Not particularly clear why the federal government is providing relief to rich people's children. And finally, the paid medical and family and medical sick leave. I don't think this is going to survive. This one is, it's a little bit too broadly written. When you normally think about paid sick leave, you think of it as you're sick, you have to stay home. Let me explain what the president will actually do, is proposing. He's proposing to provide 12 weeks. Yeah, you did hear me right. 12 weeks of coverage paid if you had to stay home because you had a new child, or care for a seriously injured loved one, or deal with loved one's military deployment, find safety from sexual assault, stalking, domestic violence, healing from serious illness, or to take time off for the death of a loved one. And it would pay you, $4,000 a month over 12 weeks. So 12 weeks is, let's see, that's 3 months. So you would get $12,000 if a family member that is a distant relative passes. You will be paid $12,000 to stay at home if a distant family member passes. You will be paid $12,000 to stay at home if your family member is deployed for the military service. You'll be paid $12,000 if you can establish someone was stalking you. It just seems like a lot of money. And it's not just for sick leave. It's a little bit broader than I think it's going to survive. But at least that's where we are currently. All right, let's go over the other provisions. $85 billion towards Pell Grants, great. $62 billion for grant to increase college retention and completion rates, great, wonderful. $39 billion to give for 2 years of subsidized tuition for students for families earning less than $125,000 in a 4-year historically black college or university or a minority-served institution. Again, this doesn't make sense. A single individual who makes 6 figures is going to get free tuition for their kid. Again, you're making 6 figures and you're a single individual and the federal government is going to give free tuition to that child. That's 6 figures you're making. Then, $200 billion to make permanent the $1.9 trillion stimulus package provision, lowering healthcare insurance premiums. So that's a carryover from the third stimulus package. Good. And then here we go. Extending through 2025 and making permanent, fully refundable, the child tax credit that was included in the COVID relief package, expansion of the child care dependent care tax credit, and making permanent the earned income tax credit for childless workers. All right, let me give you my intake, my reactions to the last 3. First, making permanent the earned income tax credit for childless workers. I like it. It actually, I think more money should be put to that. That's the hazard pay. That is, if you make less than $25,000, you're 19 years or older, you're going to get $1,402 under the third stimulus package as the earned income tax credit. Again, it's earned income tax credit. It's not actually the check. It's the hazard pay provision. Now, here what you need to know is that the earned income tax credit has been around many, many years. What the president did on the third stimulus package is raise the amount of money. I would like to see the amount actually higher than $1,502 or $1,402. I can't remember the exact number. I'd like to see the number higher. I'd also like it to be paid to people who make more than $25,000. So this is hazard pay. I mean, I would like more hazard pay. That's sort of obvious if you're a viewer of this channel. I'm a big advocate for hazard pay. Second, make permanent the recent expansion of the child care and dependent care tax credit. I like this too. I think this should actually be higher. The third stimulus package provides if you have child care costs, you spend money on child care costs, you deduct them up to a certain amount of money for $5,000 for one child or $8,000 for 2 child. I like it. I think it should actually be higher. Now, here's the one that clearly I don't like. The money for the kids. The President of the United States had, under the third stimulus package, put in a provision that became a law, $3,600 starting the month of July, paid over 12 months. 17 to newborns, $3,600. So after it became law, he immediately spoke with his staff and said, I want to do this as a permanent rule. I want to do it over 17 years. I want to pay $3,600 every year that child is alive from new birth to 17. His staff said he can't do it. So you know, as a viewer of this channel, that I've been telling you over the last, I think it's about 2 weeks, that he was going to do 6 years total, including the third stimulus package, because his staff said you can't do 17 years. And that's what got into yesterday's proposal for fifth stimulus. 6 years, which is about $24,000. It's not particularly a good sense of use of money, because remember, it's given to the parents. It could be used for anything. It could be used for video games and chocolate. It does, I don't know what's a bad example, but it could be used for, skateboards. It just could be used for anything. It's not just used for practical things that make sense. But here's the rub that I think is very suspect, I guess is the best word to use. 24 hours before yesterday's joint session of Congress speech, which debuted this, Representative Neal came out with his own bill as head of Ways and Means Committee, a very critical division of the House of Representatives, and said, you know what? I'm going to do it for 17 years. He took the president's desire, what the president wanted 17 years, and he introduced a standalone bill. Now, Representative Neal is the guy who's going to do this by recon. He's going to have the provision when it lands in the House, and he's going to have it by recon. And guess what happened since then? 6 other Democrats have come out in favor of Representative Neal to do it over 17 years. 17 years at $4,000 a year. That's upwards of $70,000. Do I think this makes sense? No, of course not. It doesn't make sense. Now, let me go over the tax rates. The tax rates, I think we're going to see a very interesting series of reaction today. Yesterday, we already saw a series of broadcast news media, and I don't mean fringe media, I mean financial news channels that said the president's claim that middle class or low income people will not be hurt by these programs because they're not in the tax bracket is not true. Boy, that's what they were reporting. Well, here's what I'm reporting. First, he proposes on the fifth stimulus package to pay for it by raising the personal tax rate on the high end from 37 to 39.6. Pretty good. I mean, that's not much of a change. That's pretty fine. But here's the problem I have with it. It's also for married couples who make $600,000. Wait a second. He specifically said when campaigning for president and after he was elected, he would not touch anyone's tax rate if they make less than $400,000. Well, a married couple, husband and wife, for example, 300 is 600,000. Here he says, I'm going to touch it at 600,000. Wait a second. 400 is 800,000, not 600,000. So yeah, he is dipping lower into more people's pockets that he said he was not going to in changing tax rates. Then capital gains taxes, 39.6%. He had said it was only going to be for individuals who make 1 million. Not true. What he debuted yesterday is for households that make more than 1 million. A household could have 4 people. Yeah, 250, 250, 250. Suddenly, he's dipping lower into people he said he wasn't going to touch. How about married couple? 500, 500. That's really right on the line. He said it was going to go near 400. So I don't like that the dipping is where it is. And with that, understand that this is a proposal. It's not a bill. It's going to get a lot of movement up and a lot of movement down. And understand that the SSI reform just came out in the last 7 days. It hasn't even been 7 days. So we have a lot of time for a lot of things to change. A lot of things could happen with this economy as well. Meantime, one of the most important things that happened yesterday that I want you to know is what happened with Ford Motor Corporation. Ford Motor reported earnings, and they were wonderful. They were through the roof. But they also gave guidance for what's going to happen the next 3 months, the next quarter. Well, the guidance was they will not be able to sell nearly half of the cars they want to sell. Why? A chip shortage, semiconductor chip shortage. I've been talking about this slightly, but there is a big worry that the economic rebound of this economy may be stalled because of the shortage of semiconductor chips and because a lot of inventory is not coming out of ports and is stuck across the country. This chip shortage could hit very badly and cause this economy to stumble. And if it stumbles, we're going to need more stimulus checks. So we're going to be watching this as a family. We're also going to be watching the unemployment numbers coming out Thursday morning. But in the meantime, if you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Thursday morning, you know what every Thursday morning is. It is the new unemployment numbers. And we're going to see if this economy is rebounding at a faster rate than it is. I'll have those numbers on Mornings LALATE. Don't miss a single broadcast today. Mornings LALATE is at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. Eastern Standard Time. Then we go to noontime LA, and then it's afternoons LA to 4 p.m. We return with a second afternoon show at 6, and then evenings, and then we go into late night. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Casino VIP. The link to become a member, subscribe, and like this video is all in the video itself. And with that, I look forward to seeing you in just a little bit. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling, have a beautiful morning, and stay with LA.